going to see Inside Out 2, and I am super excited about this because I loved the first one. I actually rewatched it a little while ago just to kind of jog my memory again, and it's still a great movie years later. But now here's the thing, we've got a couple hours until the movie starts, so what I want to do is go look around for other Inside Out toys and collectibles at the store, and I think I have just the perfect place to do it, Walmart. And I'm hoping that we have some good luck here because I saw online that this is the store that should have the most, fingers crossed. Alrighty, so I made it to the Disney section, and I feel like this is where it would probably be, and they have some cool sets like the Up House, as well as some Disney castles and Moana. Yeah, you know what guys, I am not seeing the new Inside Out one. Definitely too bad, but the hunt continues. Now the next section I want to check was the Doorables one, because you never know, there could be one in one of these sets, and I would love to try to maybe get them for the collection, but I'm looking through it here and I don't see any in any of these sets. And now since we're here, I might as well check the Pops, and I think Scarlet Witch is new, but I'm not seeing any Inside Out 2. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but who cares? We still haven't found any Inside Out. And now everybody, coming over to GameStop, there is a really great section of Pops, and I looked around the rest of the store, there was no Inside Out stuff, but at the back here, they do have both Joy and Envy on Memory Orb, and I'm trying to see if there's any other ones that they have. Like behind that, there's another Joy, but that seems to be about it. So actually, now that I think about it, it's a good thing that we did a hunt on these a little while ago, because otherwise, I would not have been able to finish the set today. And right before we leave, everybody, check it out. They have Ennui and Envy, but of course, I've already got these two. Now hold on, everybody, take a look at this before we go in. We've got to get it. Alrighty, everybody, I've got my popcorn bucket. I am good to see the movie.
Riley, how was camp? It was good.
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
Yeah, sounds right.
Asked and answered.
Yeah. Back to the game.
And just like that, everybody, the movie is over. Let's go back and talk about it. Alrighty, we are back. And now I did see the critic score on Rotten Tomato before I went to go and see the film, and I would say that mine is right about that, like a 96. Also, I don't know if you guys saw, but I did end up getting the Anger popcorn bucket, and if you take a look on the bottom here, he does light up. I know it's kind of hard to see with the lights on, but it's there. And if you're wondering how the popcorn fits inside, it's on the back here. It opens up, and you can fill it with, like, I think like maybe a large or a medium-sized popcorn. It's definitely well done, and they did not have many, so I'm glad that I got it. And now I'm sure some of you guys have seen the entire set of Inside Out 2 Pops behind me, but before we talk about those, I want to show you guys my practically complete set of the first movie. Because a lot of them do show up in Inside Out 2, Funko just never made a new pop for them. And so let's start with this one here, which is Sadness. Such a great figure. I love how they really did make the emotions, especially with these original ones and them releasing back in, I think it was like 2015. Yeah, it was 2015. The year the first movie released. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is I love how detailed they made these, even with how old the characters are. They'd only been making Pops for 5 years, and this is honestly one of my favorite Pixar sets they've ever done. And now getting on to the next one here, everybody, we have Anger, which is definitely a larger character, actually pretty similar to the size of Sadness. If you pick up these characters, you'll notice that they are super, super heavy, like definitely a solid figure. Now let's take a look at Disgust, which is another really great one, and it's a little bit thinner, of course, because she does have a bit of a bit more of a normal build. We'll go with that. Sadness is a little bit stockier, so to make her proportionate, they had to make her a larger character, and then with Anger, he's practically just a brick. But for Disgust here, it's kind of funny because her head is larger. Actually, all of these characters kind of have like larger faces, so they work really well with Pops. And I gotta say, I love the amount of detail they put into her dress, and that every single one of these has a mouth, which Funko Pops don't always have. It's a great addition to the characters because, of course, they are all about emotion. So if they didn't have the mouths, it just wouldn't make sense. But now, let's take a look at this one here, which is Fear. Another rhyme today, but anyways, this one is probably the smallest out of all of them just because of how long and lanky he is. But again, another nice one. And now, let's get into, I think, maybe the main character here. Well, yeah, I would say the main character, probably Sadness, and this one here, we've got Joy. It's funny, I was watching a few videos about Inside Out, and somebody had talked about how Riley is more of the setting than the main character. Because when you think about it, she isn't the biggest character in the movie. She's a big part of the movie, but these guys are definitely the stars. And now hold on, everybody, I've got to scoot over a little bit because we're not done there. We also have Who's your friend who likes to play bing bong, bing bong? Come on, he's great. And just like all of the other characters, I love the amount of detail they put into us. His jacket, the hat, his legs being kind of like those different colors, and the flower on his front. Really, really nice. And that is the entire main wave here. But I also have a few other characters, and these ones are the exclusives. And let's talk about the one first, which is a completely different character. We have the Rainbow Unicorn. This one released way later, and I want to see the year on this, 2018, so yeah, 3 years later. It was a bit of a random one because it released so much later. Like, they weren't even doing other Inside Out Pops at the time, but it was definitely a nice addition to the set. Also, I've got to say that I really do like that she has the coffee in her hand. I thought it was a nice touch, and I believe this might have released for Pride? I think so. They had like an entire set of Rainbow Unicorn stuff, and I think the Funko Pop was just like a bonus to go along with it. But then again, I'm not exactly sure. And now, let's get into this one here, which is another Anger figure where he is completely red. It was an Entertainment Earth exclusive that released right around the same time as the original set, and I love this one because he's got the flames on top, but also the glitter throughout. But anyways, everybody, let's get on to the last one here, which is probably, ooh, I don't know, maybe the coolest one out of the entire set for the first movie. We have the clear Bing Bong, of course, because he is the imaginary friend. This, for the longest time, was one of my favorite Funko Pops, and I think it's still up there, definitely in my like top 10 or 20, just because of, I don't know, I love clear figures and how unique this looks compared to the entire set. But anyways, everybody, enough about these. Let's get into the new emotions that broke into Riley. Because of course we do have 4 new ones, and that means they need a lot more room up there. And we have embarrassment as well as anxiety. We also have, let me see if I can get her here, ennui. And that's not where it ends, because we also have envy, and they actually made a brand new version of Joy. Which, in my opinion, totally makes sense, because Joy is another big character in the film, but the other ones, I mean, I feel like we could have got another, like, entirely new wave of them too, because they are in the movie around the same amount. But anyways, everybody, let's go into these guys a little bit deeper, because for Joy, she kind of becomes a little bit sadder because she's not the main emotion anymore. Anxiety is, of course, taking over, and I feel like that is pretty relatable for a lot of people. And now this might be a bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways, because in the film, it really is like anxiety is the only emotion for a while, until they really learn how to live with all of the new changes happening in the world, which is, again, very similar to real life. I feel like it's just a relatable movie for a lot of people, and I think embarrassment, how he definitely kind of like comes out of his shell a little bit, is really cool too. And I think out of all of these here, the emotion that shows up the least is definitely ennui. Like, you see her a little bit, but not enough, I felt like. Well, actually, maybe here's the thing. She is just like boredom, so she shows up a good amount, but when she does, it's not really for like anything too significant. I mean, a little bit, but not really. One thing that I do think was really cool about ennui, though, and I think they should have added it to the Funko Pop, is that she actually had a phone to control the board that was separate from the actual board at the front. It would have been cool just to like have that in the character. Or you know what, actually, now that I think about it, I never even checked to see if she did have it. Oops, sorry, Joy. You know what? I can't tell. Let's take her out of the box. Ah, she does not. That would have been neat if they added it. But anyways, getting back to the film, one thing that I do think is really interesting is that there isn't really a villain. Like, I guess you could consider anxiety a villain, but she's really more like an anti-hero, kinda? Because she wants good for Riley, and so does every other emotion. It's just that she doesn't know how to, like, control herself, so she takes over. And I've gotta say, it's weird how well that worked. But I guess it's just the fact with how relatable every single one of these characters are. If you're more sad or embarrassed all the time, I feel like you would love to add, you know, one specific one. But I think it's because every single one of these emotions are just so relatable. And I feel like you know somebody that is more of one of this emotion than everything else. And it'd be really fun to like have one on your desk or gift it to somebody. And I know I've talked about this before, but I feel like it'd just be so cool to have like a little, you know, anxiety sitting on your table. Or possibly a joy, or whichever one's your favorite. I don't know. And now anyways, everybody, that is all of the characters that I have. But I did also want to talk about some figures that I feel like we need to see from the film still. And I'm guessing the ones that I'm about to talk about were deemed spoilers, so that's why they didn't create them. But the first one that I have here is Nostalgia, who does not show up very often, and they're always joking about her being like, you need to come back in like 10 to 15 years. Because of course Riley's only 13 in the movie. She wouldn't have nostalgia yet. You need to have more life experience first. Then another figure that I feel like would be really cool, and this one's kind of similar to, I guess, the Frog of thunder is when they bottle up their emotions. It would probably have to be a deluxe character, but I was thinking, you know, they do the jar with all of the characters inside and then the holes poked into the top. And if they did it, it would be sadness, anger, disgust, fear, and joy. So 5 of them all crammed together. It might not work with how big pop heads are, but I feel like Funko could figure it out. I mean, they've done that amount of characters for comic covers. It could work. Oh, and another one that I think would be really, really funny is Bloofy. And I know who's Bloofy. Also, I'm not even exactly sure if that's his name, but that's what it sounded like in the movie. It was really funny how they did Bloofy too, where it was almost like Dora, Blue's Clues, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and Bluey all put together. And I really did enjoy that he had the fanny pack with all the different stuff inside, kind of like Toodles. You know, the one from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Oh, Toodles! I'm not that good. Is it just a PNG? Did I at least cut it out? I didn't? Ugh, I must have been lazy. And well, anyways, everybody, there we go. That is all that I have for my Inside Out 2 review. And let me know in the comment section below if you're going to see the movie. Or maybe you've already seen it like I have. I don't know. But anyways, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.